everybody, Sam here. I am so excited to be here with my new friend Carol. We got connected in a school community that we're both part of. There's a woman, Netta, that is just building something super, super special. And we got connected there, and I've been following some of her posts. And I'm so excited to be able to interview her today and have her share a little bit about who she is, how she helps in the world, and then a tip, thought, or piece of advice. And I'm so glad to be able to get to know you, even across the pond, as it were, Carol. So tell me, what I like to start with is share just a little bit about what I call your superhero origin story, a little bit about who you are and maybe how you got to do what you do. I find it with a lot of coaches, there's been something that's happened in their life that caused them to say, oh, I want to be part of the solution, or oh, I can
Mhm.
help with that. So I'd love to know part of your story for me personally to get to know more about you, but also to share with my wife.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here today, Sam. So I have always worked with the public. I just naturally gravitated that way. I worked in libraries and colleges and giving sort of like generalized advice. And I realized there was something that was going deeper and deeper. And then it was probably 20 plus years ago. So I was working as a careers advisor and enjoying it. My husband had an accident. So it wasn't a super serious accident. He loves his motorbikes. And so he had this motorbike accident and he had to have a little bit of hospital stay and he had a bit of morphine and this kind of thing. And then he had to do the physio after. But there was pain. And I was, at that point, I was thinking there must be something else. I was worrying about him and wanting to make it better, as you do with a family member. And in the workplace, and I just believe this is so synchronistic, there was a lady there, Patricia, her name was, and she said to me, do you know about Reiki? And I thought, what? What? No. And then she told me about this practitioner that lived 30 miles away and how amazing it was. And I thought, you know what, I'm at this point, let's just give it a go. So I went to visit this lady, which seemed a bit mad to me. I've always been open to spiritual things, but never actually practiced anything per se. I've done the odd little tiny bit of meditation, but I thought, we're going to go. There's a purpose for it. And I went along. She was lovely. I had a treatment and it blew my mind, kind of thing. I was just, oh, I saw lovely colours and stars and all sorts of things. And I didn't really know what to expect. And I felt on a real high. My job was I was very well and everything physically, but my job was quite stressful. And I had a job compartmentalizing, shutting off a lot of people asking for advice and that kind of thing. And after I had this treatment, oh my goodness, like the clarity was unbelievable. And so I said to her, does this help with pain? And she was like, "Mm." So straight away, literally after one session, I said, you need to train me. I need to do this for my husband. So we scheduled it in. She didn't normally do that sort of thing. I think normally she'd like to see people for a long time, but I must have been like, maybe I was a bit pushy. So she booked me in and we did all the levels. I think it was a long time ago, three levels, working up to teacher level. But I just thought, I just want to know everything. I don't know that I want to teach or that I want to do it anywhere else. I want to do this for my husband. So it took me 3 or 4 weeks. It was pretty fast track. It was pretty intense. And I told my husband, and he's an engineer. And so he's extremely logical. He's the total opposite of me. And he was like, okay, fine. And so I thought, I don't want to give him healing if he's not open to it, but I'm just wondering if I speak to him at a soul level, perhaps I could give him some healing at night. That should be fine. I'm not overriding anything. So I did that. And what actually happened was he crushed his left hand. There was a lot of pain. So I would do a lot of healing at night. And this went on for about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm practicing and everything. And in the mornings, he'd wake up and go, wow, these meds the doctors have got me on, they're really good, aren't they? They're just like, oh, I've slept so well. I thought, no, I'm not going to say anything. I didn't tell him till years later, actually, because I just thought he's not open to it. But basically, the pain went. He recovered. Now, okay, we could say it was a combination of things. I'm not going to say it was all my healing. It blew my mind how powerful it was. And that led me on this huge journey of about 10 years studying tons of things, crystals, just everything, you name it. And now where I am is I do a frequency modality, which most people would think of as sound healing. And that's, yes, it is, but it's also based on intention and symbols and crystals. And I can offer that to people wherever they live. And they don't have to be sitting in front of me. And I also got into numerology, which was just one of these offshoots of me being Mrs. Octopus Hands. Oh, fear of missing out. What's that? What's that? What's that? It was like a kid in a candy shop. I just tried loads of stuff. Some stuff just, I thought, that's good, but it's not for me. And it's honed into this frequency work with numerology work now. That's where I am with it now. That's the thing that floats my boat all the time. Yeah.
Good. And it sounds, I love the story. And I love how the modality helped, even though he didn't, like,
He didn't
just
believe.
because you think it's not going to work.
Yeah.
There's things out there that really do work. And I've experienced some Reiki. I haven't had the mind blowing thing you had, but I know so many people that have. And I think that part of it is just if you're ready for it. Right. And
Just being open. Just being open. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I haven't done anything with numerology. I know a lot about it. And maybe this is a separate conversation. But I have a number that follows me, and I see it in the weirdest places every day. And literally, my family, whenever I just point it out all the time, they're like, "How do you see that?" I'm like, "I'm not looking for it. I'm just observing what's around me, and I happen to notice numbers." And I tend to believe the number that follows me is 311 or 113. The ripper, both front and back. But my grandfather's birthday was March 11th. And so when I see it, I choose to think my grandfather's just sending me a little wink saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, girl. Hey." And so anyway, yeah, so that's my experience with that. And I know that there's a lot of women in my community watch that are very open to learning different things about healing and how to make their lives better, which is why I was wanting to connect with you. And I know that a lot of times, a lot of the women that are in my world are Christian. I'm a Christian. And sometimes I think that because we're a Christian, we shut off other things that I think we could be missing out on. And if you're here still listening after what Carol has already said, and you're a Christian, I would just encourage you to listen with an open mind of understanding if possibly this could be something good that God's guiding you to and could actually help you. And so I would just encourage you to listen to understand and not agree or disagree or judge or anything. Carol, I would love for you just to share a tip, a thought, or a piece of advice that maybe a woman listening that it might help her in one way or another. It can be literally anything you want it to be, in a way just to give to the women listening, and then they know a little bit more about you, your heart, and then if they're interested to reach out to connect with you later, I'll make sure that the links to connect to you is around this video.
No problem. And I just want to say, actually, I am a Christian, and I have my Bible in my healing room, which I pray every day. My tip, if you like, is I think that self-love it's helped with self-knowledge. Yeah. It starts with a self-awareness, and that's a knowledge of self. And when I say knowledge of self, this is how the numbers have helped me, because it's helped me to define some kind of pattern that I have or behaviors that I have. But more than that, the path that I've chosen. And interestingly, my path is the path of the healer, which I had no clue, but I've been guided to it clearly. And when I meet people, men and women, often they're struggling because they're on the wrong path. Okay, there's a myriad of other things, but it's because they're not. And my background is careers as well, so that kind of feeds into it. It's giving the advice, so the practical advice to help them move into the right kind of career or the right things for them, or even just the right hobbies if they're retired. But also showing them what their unique gifts and talents are. Because I think specifically with women, a lot of women don't really connect to that a lot. They don't really think perhaps that they've got gifts unique to them, very unique to them. Of course, a lot of women we end up being mums, daughters, sisters, wives. So we don't always have the thing that's our thing, not necessarily have the hobby room or the topics that we're interested in because we're so busy doing lots of other stuff. And I certainly do have that with women who, when the children have left home, they can be a bit lost, sort of thing. And when I look at the chart, it really helps me to tap into, okay, let's see what your skill set is. Now, for some people, they're not necessarily conscious of that. Or maybe when they were at school, they were like, yeah, I used to do that. Why didn't I go back to that again? I don't know. I got married and I went to uni and yeah, it was okay, but it didn't really fire me up. And so we have conversations around that because that's what we're here for, to express ourselves uniquely and share our God-given gifts, whatever they are. So I think the life path is like a compass. It's like the journey through life. And then looking at what particular cycle we're in as well, because sometimes that can tell us a lot. So we might be in a cycle of rest, for example. It could just be like everyone else is pushing and do this, and I don't really want to do it. And then when we look at the chart, it's because you're full up and this is a time for you to just rest and integrate. And I think knowledge is power, isn't it? Yeah, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So when you know.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, to dig in just because I know you don't know a whole lot about how I teach, but one of the first things I teach is knowing yourself is the first step.
Okay.
And because we have put ourselves on the back burner for so long as women, because we are the givers and we don't know who we are, how can you create a life or a business you love if you don't know who you are?
Yeah.
And so we're talking the same language for sure. And I absolutely love when that happens. And I just believe that one of the things I'm focusing on right now and helping my women understand is something you said, a period of rest. If I could scream it from the rooftops for everybody to hear, I would say overflow is greater than hustle. That hustle mentality that we have, that we feel like we have to do as women, especially for a business owner, coach, any of those things where we're having our family plus our business, or even just a job where we work as a career. There's so many things that if we can truly learn to keep our cup so full to the overflow and pour out of that saucer, man, we say we want to change the world and we try and go do it, but we pour from the cup that's completely bone dry instead of the overflow. So overflow is greater than hustle. 100%. And so, Carol, I'm so excited to know you, and I hope that we will be able to stay in touch because I do think that some of the women in my community and my space would get some great value from being connected to you. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up today?
Oh my goodness, put me on the spot. Closing thought. No, I suppose I'm just like thinking if more people, it doesn't have to be numerology, it doesn't have to be human design. If more people were in touch with themselves more deeply and what they really love doing and their passion, it's not always a logical thing, is it? But does logic make you happy? No. So if more people were in touch with that, I think the world would be happier, wouldn't it? Because we're all here to have this unique, incredible experience, like a giant jigsaw puzzle. We're all fitting into different pieces. And that's why I love it so much when you see that actually happening. So that's all I can think about that, really.
I love it. I love it. Love it for sure. I'll make sure links for where everybody can click through to get to know a little bit more about you will be around this video. And I'm excited to see what feedback we get and how it continues to spread your message out to the world. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.